If I'm coming into your store, what sorts of things might I expect to find?
I like to consider the boutique a lifestyle boutique because we do offer a variety of products.
What is something that you consistently notice that people are saying about either your business or yourself when they come in?
I do find that people say, like they feel really welcome.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced running your business?
Oh, well, it all started with COVID.
Cathy,
Yes, Darren.
you have been a staple in the community of White Rock since 2017 with your business.
Correct.
And supporting the community through your business. This is such an exciting thing for us today to have you here because,
It's an honor to be here.
well, and thank you for saying that. We were excited to have you here because you've got such a neat story. When we do a pre-interview call for the Best of White Rock, we want to make sure we're getting the best of White Rock. We're wanting to make sure we got people with something to say and really good reasons about why they do what they do, what makes them get up every morning, what's important about what they do. And you fit that to a T.
Oh, thank you.
So it was really exciting to be able to do this with you. And first of all, because we've had the opportunity to meet, but I'd love you to let everybody know who you are, what you do, and we'll start from there.
Sounds great. Love to share my story.
Please.
My dad passed away in 2015. And that's actually how this all came to be, because I have always had a passion and love for fashion, for home decor. It's just been something that has always interested me, but I never ever took it any further than a dream. And then just in my dad's passing, I was able to have these conversations with him, knowing that he was going to be leaving us Earthside. And the one thing that was really profound for me and that stood out was that I did not want to go to my grave with any regrets. And so I took the bull by the horn and I said to my husband, I'm going to open up that boutique that I've always wanted to do. And he basically looked at me like I had five heads. Like, seriously, it was like, at this stage in life, you're going to open up a boutique. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to open up a boutique. And of course, I was scared beyond belief. But it's not about facing your fears that you're going to fail. It's about, really, at the end of the day, it's like, what if I succeed? So that's how it came to be. And the mason jar, the name came from my oldest grandson. His name is Mason.
Yes.
So he was 4 years old at the time. He's now 13, and he still comes in and says to me, you know what, I'm gonna run this boutique with you one day, Nana. He has the same kind of love for decor as well as I do, and he's a little bit of a 13-year-old fashionista now. So that's how it came to be what it is today.
So there's some pretty strong family ties in
Yeah.
how this business got started.
Yeah.
What do you think it was that got you interested in that world in the first place?
In the fashion industry, or
Yeah, was that always like
it's just I don't remember anything differently. Like, I always was into fashion, like my whole entire life, and home decor. Like, I always decorated people's homes, and people would always say to me, you should charge for that. You should. I went to school. I went to BCIT for merchandising and marketing and business. So it's just always been a passion. But I always had like a desk job, or I did work in retail, but I always just had a job to have a job.
Right.
I don't know how else to explain it, but I never was doing anything that I was absolutely passionate about and that I absolutely loved, until, like I said, my dad was dying, and it was like, I just have to live life. I have to live life and do what I want to do so that I do not leave this world with any regrets. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you hear that it's the things that they didn't do that they regret,
Yeah.
not the things that they did do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Did you ever share that with your dad, that you were planning on starting?
You
up
know
the
what?
racing
I
car?
did not.
No?
I did not. I think part of it was, like, before he even passed, I had gone and looked at different venues about taking on a lease, but it just never felt right. Like, it was like, okay, this isn't the right time. This isn't maybe the opportunity that I've been looking for. my dad's sick, my mom needs me, blah 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 blah. There's always a reason. And then it wasn't until after that it was like, you know what? There is no excuses. There is no reasons. There is no great time. And my space that I'm in now, it actually came to me. I didn't go looking for it. It came looking for me.
What
So
do you mean by that?
I got a phone call one day from my landlord saying, "Oh, I understand that you're looking for a space to open up a retail store." And I was like, "Yeah." And how did you know this? But just through word of mouth, through the community, and I had been looking here and there and everywhere. This person found out about me and gave me a call, and it was in November, because that's the month my dad passed, of 2015. And I said to my husband, "Let's go take a look at this space." And he was like, "It's snowing out." And I'm like, "I don't care, let's go." So we went, and I connected immediately with my landlord. We just had this connection, and the space felt right, the place felt right. I could see the potential with it because it was quite different than it is now. And my landlord said to me, "Well, you're the first person I interviewed, so I will continue on with my interviewing and I'll get back to you." She phoned me that night and said, "I'm not interviewing anybody else." She says, "The place is yours if you want it."
Wow.
And it was like, sign the papers.
That's
Away we
amazing.
went.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So fast forward everything, 2017 comes, you open your doors,
Yeah.
and what is the mason jar for people that don't understand like what you offer there and
Well, it's evolved over the years, as it does any business. But it's a place where people come to feel safe, to be honest with you. Of course, at the end of the day, I want to pay my bills, but I'm not expecting you to come there to make a purchase every time you walk in the store, because that was never my intent to begin with. When I opened the store, it was always about being a part of a community and being bigger than myself, and building relationships and giving people, every single person who walked through the doors, an experience. And I'm really proud to say that I think I've done that. I think I've accomplished that, because I have customers that are very loyal, that come in frequently, and others that are still finding us, which is really awesome after 8 years. And people that are having a bad day or just feeling, something is off, they will come into the store because they feel this sense of calm, and they feel welcome, and they feel like they can just let go for a certain time frame. And that's really comforting to me, because that's exactly why I go there. We all have a story, we all have past and things that have happened in our lives, and for me, the mason jar is my happy place for sure, and it provides me with a sense of peace and belonging for whatever time period I'm there, because then when I go back home, I deal with my regular life. And the other thing that's really, really empowering for me is that this is the first time in my life that I have just been known as Cathy. I'm not somebody's daughter. I'm not somebody's wife. I'm not somebody's mother. I'm not somebody's aunt. I'm not somebody's sister. I identify as Cathy, and that's all they know me as. And that's a really freeing feeling.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really neat to hear.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about the environment that you've created there that makes people feel like that, or makes you feel like that?
I think I really believe in energy, so I think it's the energy that we provide in the boutique, and I think it's, my team that I have put together. I have an amazing team, and that's probably the hardest thing in a small business, or maybe any business for that matter, is to find the right team. Because once you do, it's like clockwork. Like we work together well. There's flexibility. There's it goes beyond the workplace. Like we'll reach out and help each other in any area that needs help. So that's really important, and I think that's what people find when they come into the store. And like I said, the energy. We just play really like calming music. And I think it's just the neutrality and the earthy tones of the boutique. It's just comforting.
Right. Do you think some of that also came from not only like the environment you're creating, but also like your past experience at like BCIT as an example, the way that you've designed the store, the way that everything just kind of the aura that once you
Yeah,
come in.
yeah, I do believe that. And, to be honest with you, I don't know that it's so much my schooling that, helped in the design of the boutique, because in all honesty, the boutique is really 100% extension of myself. I mean, my home is very much the same. It's very eclectic, it's very neutral, it's very earthy. I bring in things, well, obviously I have to think outside the box, and I have to also think that, not everybody's going to like what I like.
Sure.
But so far, people love what we bring in, and like I wouldn't gift you something that I wouldn't want to receive myself. So I try to buy product that, is the same, so that it does speak to the demographic of the boutique, and also it's like I can't really love something or sell you something that I'm not passionate about. That my credibility is not very great at that point, right?
Right.
Like I wouldn't be able to sell you nails because I really don't care about nails.
Right.
But I do care about what the boutique has to offer.
Yeah, well, and I love that you said that. And actually, in preparation for this interview, I know like everybody on our real estate teams, all of our wives were like doing backflips, thinking how excited they were that you were coming in because they are obsessed with your store. They absolutely love it.
That's really nice to hear.
Yeah, it was exciting. So I know for me, I need to come visit and come check it out.
Yes, you have to shop for your wife.
I do. I know.
Another woman in your life.
I was actually told that after
Yeah.
we all learned that we were going to be spending this time together.
Yeah.
What if I'm coming into your store, into your establishment? So what sorts of things might I expect to find? Because you're curating all these things with a purpose.
Right.
So like to get started, like what would I be coming in there for? Is it a mix of different types?
Well, I like to consider the boutique a lifestyle boutique.
Okay.
Because we do offer a variety of product. In all honesty, it has evolved to mostly, I'd say probably 3/4 fashion at this point, because that seems to be what the demographic is looking for. And men who come in are looking to buy, a fashion piece for their wife. So there's fashion, there's jewelry, there's self-care, there's home decor, we have a lot of candles. It's just a mix of everything, but it's curated really well. So it's one of those boutiques that you have to walk around a few times because you're going to miss it the first time. It's not a big space, and we have utilized every square inch of it.
So how do you choose what comes in and out? Like, is it how you feel about it, or what's the selection process?
I'm a very tactile person, very visual, so I don't, if I can help it, buy via Zoom or just online with my suppliers, because I need to touch it and feel it. I want to feel the quality. I want to smell the scent, whatever it is I'm bringing in. But it was really important to me from the get-go when I first started, and still today, that I brought in local brands. Local brands, local products. So I have a lot of brands, for example, that might be at the White Rock Market on Sundays, right. Which is really, really interesting and cool, because one of those brands, somebody might say, well, how do I get it in the wintertime? And they'll just say, well, the Mason Jar sells it. So if you want something, go and see them. If I don't have it here today, she might have it there. So that's kind of nice that we bounce off each other and that we support each other in that regard. And if it's not as local as our backyard, then it has expanded into maybe another province in the country, or that's usually how it goes. It's usually like right here in White Rock, Surrey, Vancouver, the Valley, and then expands into the rest of Canada as much as I possibly can.
What was important to keeping it as local as possible, or especially within the walls of Canada, anyways?
Well, I just believe in our country so much, and supporting each other. I don't think there's much growth in our own backyard if we're not supporting each other. Like, I have a really good network of fellow small businesses that we work together. It doesn't have to be retail like my store. It could be a cafe. It could be a gallery. It could be many things, right? But we support each other, because without that support, there's no community. Right. And that's really important, because I think what so many people miss is the fact that you can shop online and it's convenient, but then you're lacking the connection, and without the connection, you don't build relationships.
Right.
If you don't build relationships, that's a pretty lonely existence.
Yeah, and you had described when you curate these things for your store, being able to smell them and touch them and feel the quality and make sure you're selling something that's special to somebody else. We had talked a little bit on our pre-call for this about there's two ways to kind of do retail, and one is kind of a race to the bottom, and one is a race to quality and the experience and whatnot. And you've chosen to go towards that. Can you talk a little bit about that and unpack that?
Well, we're not fast fashion, that's for sure. A lot of our brands are, like I said, Vancouver. If it's, I'll just kind of refer to fashion for the time being. Other than that, we have a lot of European, but it's really important too, just to be budget conscious in a sense, because you want to be affordable to the demographic. But I also want to bring in the quality. So I think I've balanced the two pretty well.
Sure.
We have a really great price point, nothing out of, control, but the quality's there. So we really try to educate our consumer, our buyer, our client, our customer on quality over quantity. Like we'd rather see them buy a couple of really great pieces that are going to last them a lifetime. And I always use this analogy with our customers is that you will outgrow your piece before it outgrows you.
Right.
Because you will just get bored of it after a few years perhaps, but then you can like recycle it like through like one of our upcycled shops in the community, so that it's not going into landfill. Like you're just getting more for your dollar. You don't have to buy 5 things, you can buy one thing. And I like to call the fashion in the store classic conservative with an edge. So
Classic conservative with an edge.
yeah,
Okay.
so that you're not over the top, but you're not like just fitting in with everybody else.
Yeah, that's really good. There's I mean, it's a very famous saying that instead of doing a race to the bottom, like you really get what you pay for,
Yeah.
right? You really truly
Yeah,
do. I mean,
you
we
do.
we
There's no
experience
doubt.
this in our real estate
Yeah.
business. Like there's all sorts of business models out there, and people will find what they're looking for. There's
Yeah.
no doubt, but you also can't argue that you do get what you pay for.
Yeah,
in life,
100%.
right?
And I mean, I know there's Amazon out there, and everybody shops Amazon, myself included, I'm not going to lie. And I think there is a purpose for it. But if you can find it in your community, why wouldn't you want to support that first and foremost? Because really, in all honesty, how many times do you buy something online and send it back?
Yeah.
I'd
And then
say,
what happens to it too, right?
Right.
Does it end up in the landfill? Does
Exactly.
it go back and get resold? Which likely I don't
And
think is
then
the
there's
case.
packaging, and then there's, I don't know, time involved. You got to pack it up and take it to wherever it's going to go back. And it wasn't what you thought it was because you didn't touch it, you didn't feel it, you didn't smell it, you didn't see the quality. It looked really good, but it just like does not look quite the same when it came in the mail.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I know that there's a purpose for it. And if you can't find it in your own backyard, then yes, you might have to resort to that because that's just the way it is. It's just the sign of the times. But if you can, like, why not support it locally?
Yeah, well, and so many people have really gone that route, and especially in the age of like gasoline, as an example, being so expensive, or even just time. Time is expensive.
Yeah.
And in a world where there's kids and sports
Yeah.
and all these obligations that everybody has,
Yeah.
you've got a big obligation coming up in a couple of weeks
Yeah.
that is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And I'll certainly let you get into that if you want. But I'm curious as well. Like running a small business is not for the faint of heart,
No.
right? It's not easy.
No.
You're constantly at a war for attention of people. What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced running your business?
Oh, well, it all started with COVID, in all honesty, but COVID was the best year ever.
Really?
Ever. And since then, it's either not plateaued, it's either stayed the same or gone down, which when you're growing a business, it should be always going up. But it has not been that way. It's either like this or like this. And with COVID, people weren't traveling, people weren't going out. And I think after a short period, people realized that I'm bored, I need to spend money. So money was just no object. And they would just spend because they had it and they weren't spending it elsewhere. And so in all honesty, what happened in the next year as a small business, and I'm sure in many other businesses as well, is that as a buyer, we bought on that year's numbers because they were so extremely great. And then we couldn't sell them. So, we would have to not give them away, but practically give away to make room for new inventory. And so many of my fellow small business owners, so many of them have closed their doors since then because they got too big too quickly, or they lost their clientele. I don't know why, but it's just ongoing. It's the economy, it's politics. There's always going to be something.
Sure.
So and a lot of people pivoted to online if they weren't already online with their small business, and that is one thing I never did. And even my husband said to me, you won't survive if you don't go online. And I was like, well, then I would rather close my doors and go online, because that was never my intention to begin with. Because how do I become part of the community? How do I give the people the experiences and build the relationships that I set out to do if I'm online?
Right.
So nothing against online, because I do shop online too. But for me, that was never the purpose of opening the shop. So I would rather stick to my truth and my purpose than to go against that. And I mean, I'm still here, so something's right. Something's going right.
Yeah. I know, like, and especially White Rock too, because with White Rock being it's not a resort community, but it's like, it's very busy on the weekends because everybody says, hey, let's go to White Rock, and the sun comes out, and everybody, hey, let's go to White Rock and let's go do that. But there's also the opposite is true, where it's the middle of November and it's raining, and you could go down to Marine Drive and you're the only one down there.
Yeah, except that I'm not on Marine Drive.
Right.
Which is a good thing for me, because it is so seasonal. I'm uptown White Rock. And, some people say, well, you're kind of off the beaten path. Well, I'm a block off the beaten path.
Yeah, you're close.
I am not off the beaten path to the point of, like, if somebody's going to come visit me from elsewhere, which we do have a lot of people that come from the island and make us their first stop. Or we have a lot of people coming out from the valley, and they're spending the day in the city or in White Rock, and they'll come and visit us because they know that they love to, be a part of the shop. So with that being said, we already have like a pretty good base of clientele, and we're open, 6 days a week. We used to only be 5, but we're only open 6. And people say, ask us all the time why we don't open on Sundays. And it's, for me, it's like everybody needs a day, like if people know we're open 7 days a week, then they'll come 7 days a week. If we're open 6 days a week, then they'll come 6 days a week, because we're open 10 to 5. So there's lots of time to come. And, it's nice just to have a down day. Like for me, for example, being a small business owner, I really go offline on Sunday. And it's quite exciting to be productive in another way and not be on, like on my phone with, my Instagram or emails or what have you. But yeah, like being uptown for sure, I think is a bonus for us.
Have you noticed any difference with all the new density that's been coming in? So like there's a brand new big tower that just took occupancy at the corner of 16th and 152nd. Have you noticed that as the community has growing since 2017, has that had an impact for you?
I haven't seen a huge impact. I have been asked that question numerous times. Do you think I would have? But I haven't. Maybe trickling here and there, but like that's a lot of new development and a lot of new people in our community. But I haven't really seen, like, it doesn't balance to me. Like, it's not like with all that new influx of people, we should be increased in our business, but that really hasn't happened. Okay. A little bit, but not a ton.
Yeah. Was maybe to pivot a little bit, we've talked a lot about community in this session, and I'm curious, doing business in White Rock, so being in the community since 2017, has that had any influence on you on how you run your business? So like you have a lot of people that come visit you, as you said, from like places like the island. But I'm sure you've also got a lot of locals.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So being part of the community, because I know you do some really great things within the community as well. So like you support, I know, the food bank as an example, and there were some other things that were on your website that I'd love you to talk about too.
Well, we support as much local as we can. Like during the holidays, we pick a charity, so to speak, and we'll do, like one year we did, we always kind of try to balance it with a special offering for the customer. Like if you bring in a toy unwrapped, 20% off your purchases from this time to that time.
Great idea.
So one year we did that, for example, and Mason, my grandson, he delivered all those toys to BC Children's Hospital.
Wow.
one year we've supported like local families over the holidays, and then once we find out what that family needs, perhaps it's a single mom with two boys ages 5 and 10, then we have our clients bring in unwrapped gifts for that family, and once again we'll say, okay, with that we'll give you like a discount on your purchase as well. Or we've done the food bank, just drop off. We do events as well, and we've done like we try to do as much as we possibly can, like to support the community. And I'm always open to suggestions.
No, well, hey, I mean, it does sound like you're doing a lot, and I'm actually wondering too. This has got me going, my mind going a different way. But if I was to look at like reviews, one of your customers, what is something that you consistently notice that people are saying about either your business or yourself when they come in? Do you see any things that seem to be pretty congruent in that regard?
Yeah, like people just love the energy that the store brings them, and like the store is mine. Like I'm financially responsible for it, but it's not just about me, right? It's about the people, the gals that work with me. It's about the people that shop in the store. It's not just about me, and that's a really beautiful way to look at it as well, because I can go away for a week or two, not that I have, but I can.
Yeah.
And the gals run it like it's their own. They're as passionate about it as I am. And that makes all the difference in the world. And, everybody with the reviews and the like Google reviews or whatever it might be, I do find that people say, like they feel really welcome. They feel very comfortable. They feel very validated, acknowledged. And that's the difference between owning a small business and a big box store, so to speak. Like when you're in a small business boutique, or it could be a boutique dental office for that matter, you do get that customer service. You do get that one-on-one time. You're not just another number. People actually care about what you're there for, whether it be yourself or you're there to buy a gift, or you're there because you just lost somebody important in your life and you just needed somebody to talk to.
Right.
And when I go home at the end of the day, and if I know that somebody feels so much better because they were able to talk to me, I had a great day. I literally had a great day.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like it's a culture that you've created, and the culture starts with the person at the top. It's a culture that you build at the top, and then it streams down, and then it starts carrying up from the ground up and back to everybody else that you serve. And if you've got employees that are enthusiastic and love what they do, and you've built this environment for them to not only love but thrive in, that carries on to the customer. They come in and they feel that energy that you talk
100%.
about, and they absolutely love it, and then they feel good, and then they want to come back and visit, and then they get to really experience. You talked about it being a safe place, right? They get to come in and they don't feel rushed. They feel like they're at a friend's house, and they get to explore and find really neat pieces. Or
Thank you
fashion.
for saying that, because that is the kind of comment that I hear frequently, and it really does. It just makes my heart so happy when I hear that, because once again, it just gets back to this is what makes a difference in your community,
right?
And that's what it's all about. Like for me, that's just completely what it's all about. Whether I've had a good day, like I'll go home at night and maybe sales were really bad that day, because it happens a lot. But I had the best conversation with somebody that I've never met before, who just wandered in and for some reason felt safe enough to just tell me their life story. And I was open to listen. And knowing that they left feeling better it's huge. It's huge. And I don't know if that just comes from life experience, maturity, going through my own losses or what, but it doesn't much matter at the end of the day. It's what really matters is just that, you made a difference in somebody's life.
Yeah. Well,
it's just one person.
Yeah, well, that's amazing, and that's what creates loyalty too, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's going to bring that person back, and that feeling of safety and community that you've been touching on for sure. What if I was somebody looking for fashion or some of the offerings that you have at your store? There's probably a lot of misconceptions out there about, we talked about big box stores or online retailers and that sort of thing. I'm curious if you could grab everybody by the shoulders and just square them up and look them right in the eyes and say, if I could help you understand one thing about what we do that would help you better understand this ecosystem that we have here, what would that be?
Well, in all honesty, like even a lot of our jewelry, like I'll kind of just flip from fashion as into clothing to fashion as into jewelry. Like we have a lot of jewelry lines, and our jewelry lines are all local. Every single one of them is local. Same with our candle lines. We have a lot and they're all local. But, you know, like all of the candles, for example, we try to educate the consumer. I think at the end of the day, it's just about educating them, no matter what the product is. Like candles, for example, all our candles are like soy, coconut, apricot. They're clean burning. They have a cotton wick or a wood wick. So there's no paraffin. So, you know, because they're not like, I don't want to use names on anything, but they're not like manufactured big box or what have you candles that are really bad for you and the environment. The same with our fashion. Like people, it's really it's really good psychology just to watch people. You know, it's so interesting because, you know, they used to be like, well, I don't want to buy it if it's made in such and such a place, but now it's like, I don't want to buy it if it's made in the USA. It's like, it doesn't really matter where it's made at the end of the day, as long as it's made ethically in, you know, fair trade, people are getting paid what they deserve to get paid. Everything is, you know, there's cleanliness. Like a lot of our Vancouver brands, fashion-wise, yes, they're designed here. Their majority of the work is done here, but they're manufactured overseas because we do not have in BC or Canada the resources at the end of the day to manufacture here. So we do have to source out. But if they're sourced out ethically, and these people that run these small businesses that I buy from have traveled to these to their makers and seen how they operate and see the cleanliness and see the environment and see how their staff is all treated and paid, then it doesn't really matter where it's made. So I think it's really important that we educate them on that fact as well, right? Or like we carry a brand, Pura. A lot of people are familiar with Pura jewelry. It's expensive, but it's also made out of all reclaimed silver, reclaimed bronze, reclaimed gold. Everything is individually handmade right here in the city of Vancouver. You know, you pay for that, but you also have something very unique and to you, right? So I don't know, I think at the end of the day, I would just say we need to educate our consumer.
I love that. Yeah. Speaking of educating the consumer, why should I come visit the Mason Jar?
Because we're great.
Well, and I would agree.
Because we care. Yeah. We care. Like, why did you come visit us instead of going to a mall or, you know, somewhere down the street? It's because we're going to listen to you. And we're going to help you find what it is you're looking for. And more often than not, you'd be surprised that the consumer walks out with something they weren't looking for.
Right.
You know, because selling isn't about selling. Selling for me is about being able to read people. That's all it is.
Right.
It's reading people. It's not about selling them something that they don't need. And that's one thing that sometimes I think to myself, we're maybe a little too honest at the Mason Jar, is that we'll let you know if you can do better.
Sure. Yeah, well, that's good because that's what creates the trust and transparency with people, and again, you know, gives you the whole ecosystem that you've really created.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I would like to receive on the other side of the fence. I want to receive what we're giving. So, you know, like I'm not going to. It's like practicing what you preach, right? I don't want to be unauthentic to myself because I'm being, you know, not truthful with my customer and. I don't want to do that. You know, I want them to come back. I'd rather have them leave with nothing and come back saying, I really appreciated the honesty, so I'm back to see if you have something new today for me.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you know, I'm reflecting on this conversation. You've created an incredible culture, a family environment within your business. You've created a safe spot for people to go, not only and just generally enjoy themselves, but also feel comfortable in terms of shopping and treating themselves, buying gifts, whatever that might be. Through that, you're supporting the community, and through that, you're just giving back to the community, and also just making the world a little bit of a better place. If there's anything else that I didn't get on that list, it was in this conversation, because I just love the authenticity. I love what you stand for. The reasons that you are offering out certain things to people, the way that you're trying to make people feel, the way that you're trying to support the people that not only you work with, but also the people in the community. It's just a really neat story.
Well, I really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, how do people find you if they want to learn more about the Mason Jar?
Well, they can Google me. The Mason Jar at shaw.ca is our email, but we're also on Instagram. It's just the Mason Jar Decor. You can find us on our website, which is the Mason Jar. It's such a long one. The Mason Jar Home Decor and Gifts.
We'll link that in the bottom of this video.
Yeah,
anyways,
and otherwise, I mean, we're just at the corner of Thrift and Johnson. Just a little to the south, north. I'm really bad at direction. If you go down, you turn left.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Kathy, I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Best of
Thank you for
White Rock.
having me. It was really, really nice to be able to share my story.
Yeah, it was super interesting, and I really hope that the people in the community not only resonate with this, because they should, but what a great reason to go support the Mason Jar and go learn a little bit more about what we're doing there. So I wanted to thank you.
Thanks, Darren.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
My pleasure as well. Thank you.